and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. Elvis Presley is probably the most impersonated artist of our time, but it takes a special talent and respect for Mr. Presley to become an Elvis Presley tribute artist. My guest tonight is Elvis Presley tribute artist Taylor Rodriguez, who's been perfecting his craft since he was a child. Taylor, welcome to Lynchburg Live.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You know, as we get started, will you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself, how old you are, where you go to school, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I'm 17 years old. I go to Jefferson Forest High School. I'm a junior there, and I've been doing this since I was about the age of about 9 years old. So I've been doing it for a couple years, about 8 years now.
That's wonderful. Now, what is the difference in an Elvis impersonator and a tribute artist?
Well, the way we have, like, I say we as in the tribute artist community, we refer ourselves to tribute artists because we're actually paying tribute to the king of rock and roll.
Right.
And you know, impersonator, you know, I actually started out as Taylor Rodriguez, Elvis impersonator, and then until I kind of, like, you know, looked on YouTube of impersonators and stuff, and it was a difference. It was just a big difference, as in, you know, some impersonators would make fun of Elvis,
right,
or, you know, and tribute artists, you're paying tribute to the king of rock and roll.
You know, I think that's what really sets it apart, because I watched some of your videos on your website, and it's just very special the way you present yourself, and very respectful, I think. So,
well, thank you.
You know,
thank you.
I'm glad to know what the difference
Thank
is.
you.
You know. All right, now how and when, you said you were, what, about 8 years old when you got interested in this?
Well, when I was about 7 years old when I got interested in Elvis, and my aunt, you know, we would go on car rides, and I would hang out with her and spend the day with her, and you know, we would always listen to Elvis radio, and I think one day I asked her, I was like, you know, who is this, you know, singing? And she was like, it's Elvis. And I looked up that night Elvis on YouTube, and the first video I saw was Hound Dog, and I was amazed by, like, you know, the audience's reaction to this guy that was on stage just singing and everything, and it was just amazing. So yeah, I started about when I was 7, you know, getting interested in Elvis. So, but it took me a few years to kind of, you know, get that, try to get the moves and stuff like that. So
now, understand that you start out your shows by a tribute to your aunt.
Right. Well, it's actually at the end of the show. Usually we do American Trilogy, and that was her favorite song. And I remember my cousin Vicky. She told me that when she went to Graceland for her first time, my aunt, she went with her, and she was looking up at Elvis's Aloha suit, and she just was standing there, she said, and she started crying, and it was the American Trilogy song, and it was just I was like, wow, you know, that's really something special. So
I think, and your aunt, you lost your aunt, is that right?
Right. It was I think 2011 when we lost her.
And her name was?
Diane Markham.
Just wanted everybody to know that, you know, she helped you. She was so instrumental in getting you started with what you're doing so well right now.
Right.
All right. How did you learn to do Elvis Presley's signature moves? I mean, you know, nobody else really came along. He was the first to come along who did that kind of thing.
Right.
How did you learn to do that?
Well, you know, I went on YouTube, and I studied, like, every little move, every little gesture that he did, you know, with his hands, or the way he looked at the audience, or you know, I just kind of studied at each one of his performances that he did. You know, like Vegas. I usually do the '70s Elvis, and you know, more of the Vegas years and the jumpsuit era.
Right.
And I look at those videos, like That's the Way It Is, and there's a movie that they made about him in Vegas, and it was a live concert. And I watched, like, the different things that he did, and how he reacted with the audience and stuff, and how the audience reacted with him. And I just kind of studied that, you know, bit by bit, and I would kind of go over it in my head, okay, so I have to do this way, you know, and such like that.
Well, how about your voice? Training your voice, or is this just naturally? Are you naturally gifted as a singer anyway?
Well, you know, I trained my voice the best I could to try to get that, you know, deep sound, but I think it just kind of it kind of came naturally, I think. You know, it wasn't something that I was too worried about. It was just like at first it was the lyrics and the songs, and you know the look and stuff like that. And then I had to get the voice down because my voice was changing from 9 until at this age.
Right.
And I was looking back at one of my videos that my parents had taken of me, and I think it was at I'm trying to figure out where I was, but I was with a band, and this band just did a couple of Elvis songs, and my voice was so high, like it was really high, and I was just like, oh my gosh, did I sound like that, before? And then it just naturally came, I guess.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was, how did your voice changing affect what you were trying to learn how to do?
Right. Well, at first, like I said, my voice was really high, and at the age of 9, and what had happened is I started with since I was, looking at the 70s, Elvis and everything, I tried to do those songs at first, and then it kind of dawned on me, I should have started with the 50s because the 50s was more, the high voice and stuff like that. But it didn't really make a difference, I don't think, because it was like, basically, when I started at 9, I just kept working and working and working, and I feel like I've gotten better at those 70 songs, even though my voice was changing throughout those years. So then,
I was going to ask you, when did your parents really become aware that you were serious about this and that you had a talent for it?
Well, I think when I first asked them to get a professional suit, the suits that I wear, they're very expensive, and they're all handmade and everything else. And I had a friend. I watched actually Joseph Hall, and Joseph Hall, he's another Elvis Tribute Artist, and he does all the years, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I went to Legends in Concert at Myrtle Beach, and that's where I saw him. And he was another guy that inspired me to he wrote on my photo, "Follow your dreams," and I always I was like, man, I'm definitely doing this. Like, I have to do this, and that motivated me. But I saw that suit. He had like a gold lame jacket, and at first I believe the first suit I got was it was handmade, but then I started getting more known throughout Lynchburg and Bedford and everywhere pretty much, and I asked my parents. I was like, can I get my first suit? And I think this was about the age of, I think 13, I think. But there was that time period where I had handmade costumes and such. But I feel as an Elvis Tribute artist, you should start from somewhere and not just get right into it. You first want to see if you like it, and so yeah.
You're really level-headed, and to be thinking like that as a younger person is really mature beyond your years, I think.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, I understand that you first started performing at your parents' restaurant.
Right.
Do you still do that?
Yes,
Where is that?
Oh, okay.
Give them a plug.
It's at El Cazador in Bedford, and we usually perform every once a month, or now it's kind of getting to where it's every other month or so because I'm just staying so booked on my schedule. Like I know New Year's Eve I had 3 parties in one night, and it was just so hectic that day. It was but we usually perform once every other month, but it's at El Cazador in Bedford.
So you're starting to make money from this, is
right.
that right?
Right. At first I didn't make any money. I was just doing it for the entertainment for the people and stuff, and then it started to get the point where I had to charge something because it was so many parties that we were doing, and then it became a habit for people to hire me and stuff like that. So we had to charge a little bit.
I just think it's fantastic. But you also started out, and I assume you still do occasionally when your schedule will allow it, doing charity performances. What kind of stuff did you do, or do you do?
Well, we actually perform. I performed for the art building before. performed for benefits. You know, people hire me for benefits that they have. Some is to raise money for St. Jude's, to raise money for their church, or you know, it just depends on what they hire me for. But I've actually done a couple that I know of. I believe I did actually one for my uncle, and I did a benefit for him, and he was in the hospital, and we raised money for him and everything. And there was I'm trying to think of another one. I think there was another one for well, I can't think of any more.
You know, anytime that you're able to make money with your talent, but also to use your talent to help other people, I think that sets you apart from a lot of entertainers. I think it keeps the human factor, and people really appreciate that, I think.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so I understand that you had the opportunity to perform at Graceland?
Oh, yes, I did. I believe the first time I went was 2012, and I wasn't, I think it was 2012 or 2013, and I went with, my parents stayed busy, you know, working and stuff like that, so my neighbors decided to take me to Graceland, and they're like my grandparents, you know, and, but my neighbors, they took me to Graceland, and we went for, I believe it was 3 days or 4 days, and you know, we got to look at the house and everything, and it was really neat, and I was just so surprised like the first time I went. And what happened is they had this little karaoke thing going on at the Rock and Roll Cafe, and it's a little cafe near Graceland, and it's in the plaza, and they had this other guy there that he was doing Elvis, and he invited people to do karaoke. So I said, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll do 2 songs, and I did 2 songs, and there was a Elvis corporate member in the back of the room, and he came up to me after I sang my songs, and he was like, oh my gosh, man, you got it. And he invited me back next year to go to Elvis Week.
How
and
wonderful.
It was Elvis Week 2013, and that was my first year performing, and you know, in front of this crowd that, you know, they knew everything about Elvis. And it was so many people there, I remember, but it was so hot that that day. It was so hot. But you know, it was just amazing because these people, you know, they had relations with Elvis too. They you know, I met a guy that used to cut Elvis's hair.
Oh, me.
And I met, you know, people that I met his maid, one of his maids in his house. And it was just really neat to, you know, these people actually, you know, they were with the king, and they, you know, bonded with him too, and it was just amazing, you know. And to have these people come up and compliment me, it was just like, it was the best feeling you could get. It was really amazing. Yeah.
Were you able to meet Lisa Marie or
What?
Priscilla?
Sadly, no. We we actually went to Canada, and we did the Elvis Collingwood Festival. And they had, I think it was Priscilla. Priscilla came in, but none of the tribute artists could go near her because we were in our suits. So I guess it was an emotional thing for her too.
Right.
But it was her first event that she had showed up to that was an Elvis
wonderful.
event. So I didn't get the chance to meet her, but I did get to see her.
From a distance.
So, yeah, right.
But that's cool. I mean, that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
At the age that you were then.
Right.
You brought some really fantastic pictures, and Phil, if you'll put the pictures up, we'll get Taylor to tell us what they are.
Oh, okay. So this picture right here, we actually were in Pigeon Forge, and I did well, not a competition, sorry, a show with my friend Austin Irby, and this is one of the pictures. That's one of my favorite pictures.
Great.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was going to make a really bad pun and ask you if you had your costumes tailor-made. Bad. Let's go to the next picture.
Okay, so this picture right here, I was actually doing a competition at Graceland that I had placed second place.
Oh, great.
And yeah, I think this was before finals, and this is actually another one of my favorites. My mom had pointed out later, you know, after the picture was taken, that if you see Elvis in the background, it almost looks the same You know,
does.
the facial expression. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so neat.
That's what I like about this picture, is that he's there with you.
Yeah, yeah. He's kind of like looking over my shoulder.
I think that's cool.
And this is another one of the same competition. I believe I was doing Suspicious Minds, and this is the part where I, you know, kind of get low on the floor, and you know how Elvis did in the 70s. That's another one of my favorites as well. Again, that's the same one. Yeah, that's another one as well.
And there's Elvis.
Yeah, and there's Elvis in the background. This is actually a really neat competition that we did. There was I competed against, I believe it was like 30 Elvis Tribute Artists there, and what they did is they selected top 10, and this is the I think this was the preliminary round. I think this was right before you went to the finals. This is actually one of the first weddings I've ever did, and this lady right here, she was crazy. I mean, she was good crazy, but she was crazy. She was hugging onto me, and she was like, "Oh, Elvis," you know. And this is one of my favorite moments at the wedding. This was actually after the ceremony. We were taking pictures and such, and she was just like holding on to me for dear life, you know. She.
Do you get a lot of that? Because there's still women all over, you know, women in their 50s and 60s now,
Right.
and even in their 70s, were diehard Elvis Presley fans,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in the 70s,
Right.
and they were young women.
Yeah, I still get a lot of that. I've actually attracted a younger crowd as well.
Great.
But I have you know, some fans that I've had actually before. I went to a church and performed, and they threw boxers at me. They were clean boxers, but they were boxers, and it was just hilarious. And it was inside of a church as well.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's good.
Okay,
That's really
yeah,
good.
this is another one of my favorite moments. This was when I was singing "How Great Thou Art," and this was in the finals, and this was with a live band as well. And this picture, I was looking down because I just felt, I'm a Christian myself, and I just felt the presence of the Lord just so much in this picture, and it was just, I could just like feel it. I could feel like He was touching, you know, right behind me. And actually, it's funny though, because I actually have another YouTube video that was of the finals, and I was singing "How Great Thou Art," and we did a reprise of the song, and I could feel it, and my mother said that she could feel it as well, but we were singing "How Great Thou Art," and I sang "How Great Thou Art," the words "How Great Thou Art" 2 times, and I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I turned my head in the video, and you can, you know, see where I turned my head and everything, and I just got really emotional, and it was amazing. Like I got second place in this competition, but I tell everybody that that's top down like the best prize that you could have ever gotten from that.
You know, that hymn, I don't think anybody ever has done that hymn the way he did it.
Oh yeah.
And with the amount of feeling, and anytime we sing it in church, immediately I think about how he sang it and how he sounded when he sang it.
Right. And this is another one of the same song that we were singing, and we actually sang "In the Ghetto" as well, and "How Great Thou Art" during these finals. And this picture right here, this is where I got down on my knee. This is actually one of the pictures where I actually felt, you know, a hand touch me right on my shoulder, and you know, I think it was my aunt, you know, looking down on me as well, and you know, it was funny because I tried to sing "How Great Thou Art." It was at least 2 times. We averaged about 3 shows in Graceland, and this was actually in Graceland as well. And we averaged about 3 shows a day, which was about 27 shows in the 9 days that we were there. But my voice was so worn out, and
I'm sure.
and we tried to sing "How Great Thou Art" 2 times in that same day that we had the finals, and mysteriously, the lady that was in charge of the show, she accidentally skipped over my song, and then at Graceland, the song just cut off in mid thing, and I knew something was was up, and I was like, that's fine, and I sang How Great Thou Art that night, and I hit this note that I had never hit before. Like it was this really high note that I've never even attempted. But that's also another one of my favorites. And then this one right here, this is actually where I started getting emotional. When I felt the presence.
I think that's why this is a tribute more than an impersonation.
Right.
Because you feel, you're not just going out there to sing a song, you have feelings associated with what you're doing, and I think that sets you apart.
Right. And, I had people tell me before, if you can't feel the music, then, you're not singing it right. You got to feel the music in order to get that, to actually call yourself a tribute artist,
Right. Now, do you perform full-length concerts?
Yes, we do. I've actually performed my first live concert with a professional band that we had hired at Jefferson Forest High School, and we had so much fun. We were singing this, different songs. I think we had about 20 songs in that session, but we did a 2-hour concert, and it was phenomenal. We had a great turnout.
Taylor, we're running out of time. We only have about 4 minutes, but I want to find out where you're going, what's coming up for you in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually into theater as well.
Great.
And Cavalier Theater, we're actually at Jefferson Forest High School, we're doing a play called A Flea in Her Ear. And that is going to showcase January 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th at 7:30, and then January 25th at 2:30. And it's $10 for admission and $7 for students. So we hope to get a big crowd for that.
That's
I actually
great.
play an angry Spanish guy that tries. Yeah, I tried to kill my wife. Not a spoiler, but we're going to be teaming up with WYYD to do a St. Jude's benefit show at Phase 2, February the 19th. We're not positive on what time, but you can check my website, www.taylorrodriguezelvis.com, and you can check out different dates and such that we have. And then February 28th, also, we're going to be having a big show, possibly a big show. We're not final on it yet, but it's going to be from 7 to 10 p.m., and it's going to be at Jefferson Forest High School, and it's also going to be with a band, and my friend Austin Irby will be coming in and performing the 50s Elvis, and we'll also be doing the Blues Brothers together as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful. So you've got a lot ahead of you,
Right.
and with your talent, I think that, we can say, I remember when.
Right, right.
But I think you're grounded, and you're still doing stuff that's normal stuff for kids your age, plus you have this exceptional talent.
Well, thank you.
I thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. My next show will feature, hopefully, a tour of the new Lynchburg Humane Society shelter. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. And as we end, we're going to treat you to a little bit of Taylor's performance as Elvis. Good night.
And this love song goes out to all the beautiful women out here tonight. Go ahead. True. love you, and I always will. Thank you guys very much. God bless you. Thank you.
Here at Knockout Cuts, you get a great cut at a reasonable price.
Good. Yeah, you looking good. Hey, man, you know. I know you're doing movies now, man.
We serve men, women, and children. Whether you need a basic cut or something unusual, Knockout Cuts will get the job done. You can set an appointment by calling area code 269-753-7471, or just come by the shop. We're right here, conveniently located 1500 12th Street in Fillmore, right next to Payne School.
Let me see. Oh, whoa. That's how you doing up here, bro?
Oh, yeah. That's Knockout Cuts for men, women, and kids. Come out and get your cut knocked out.
Oh. Yo, I'm gonna tell everybody I know about this place, man.
Franklin Hutcherson Funeral Home, formerly known as Hutcherson Funeral Home, has been serving the greater Lynchburg area for generations. Franklin Hutcherson Funeral Home is committed to delivering the highest quality of service with compassion and warmth. Franklin Hutcherson offers traditional funeral services, cremation services, and pre-planning for funerals and cremations. Visit Franklin Hutcherson Funeral Home at 918 5th Street or call 434-846-1337. Once again, the address is 918 5th Street or call 434-846-1337.